Team Sonic Racing was a really fun game when it came out, but since then, not much about the game has been said since. The game got announced, the game got delayed, the game got released, and here we are, a little over 1 year later.
So, what happened to this game? Super Mario Kart released in 1992. Yeah, it's hard to be spotted in a genre that's dominated by Mario Kart. Sure, you have some games that stick out, but regardless, they are still totally eclipsed by the success of Mario Kart. With Mario Kart being on top, any other games trying to share the spotlight need to offer something that Mario Kart doesn't have. So, what does Team Sonic Racing bring to the table? Well, it's in the name, Team Racing. Mario Kart does offer team racing, but it's extremely bare bones. Standard Mario Kart is you get points per position, and after a few races, the person with the most points wins the cup. Teams is just 6 people's collective points mixed together until the end of the cup. That's all you really need for a team race, but this doesn't really affect the gameplay. You don't end up playing to try and help out your teammates. You still end up playing just to get yourself a better position. This is where the features of Team Sonic Racing shine, making for a really interesting game. Team Sonic Racing is a 12-player race, with 4 teams of 3, which creates for even more interesting gameplay decisions. If you're behind 2 opponents who are on different teams, and you have an item that could spin out one of them, you could just hit either of them and gain a higher position for yourself, or you could hit an opponent that has teammates in a higher position to drop off their collective points at the end of the race, if they continue to stay in a lower position, possibly winning you the race. Figuring out where other teams will place at the end of the race doesn't require you to quickly add up how many points each team will have. As you can see on the side of the screen, it'll show team positions if the race were to end with everyone in their current position. This is just one of the things to be thinking of while racing, and doesn't even include all the other features which make the team aspect of this game so fun. At any point in the race, if you have an item that you do not plan on using at all, you're able to pass it to a teammate to assist them. Even if your whole team's ahead, passing items is still very useful. Items have an ability to be upgraded while passing. For example, if you have a boost item that allows you to boost yourself once, if you pass it to a teammate, they will be given an item that allows them to boost themselves 3 different times. Though most of the standard kart racing items are accessible by everyone, certain character types, which I'll talk about more in a bit, have a limited selection of items that only they can obtain from item boxes. So having a team built with all 3 character types will grant your team access to every item. But it's completely possible to have a team with everyone being the same character type to make the odds of getting that type's unique item much higher. Or it's possible to just omit one of the types from your team if you don't like the item it provides, and you can focus on picking up a second type that offers an item that your team prefers. There are a few more features that this game offers that make the team racing engaging. The skim boost allows for a fast-moving teammate to give a slow-moving teammate a boost by driving close past them. If a teammate ahead recently got hit, you can just drive close by and they are back up to speed without having to slowly gain their speed again. The player who's in the highest position on each team gains a trail that follows behind them. Players on their team are able to drive on this trail and start charging up a slingshot. Once they drive off this trail, they will gain a burst of speed and go right back on the trail to do it over and over again, closing the distance between the player in the highest position on their team and the players that have fallen behind. The player with the trail should try to keep their movements simple to follow to make it easier for teammates to consistently keep gaining the speed boosts. Performing slingshots, skim boosts, and passing items, and even rival takedowns, which is done by hitting a rival car, progressively adds to your team ultimate. All team ultimates work the same across all characters. Once activated, you gain a much higher top speed for as long as the ultimate lasts. During this time, you also become invincible and spin out any racer you collide with, unless they are on your team. Hitting opponents this way will increase the ultimate's duration slightly. Though it's a team ultimate, each teammate can start their ultimate independent from the other teammates. However, if a team activates their ultimate at the same time, the duration of the ultimate will last a little bit longer for each player. Team Sonic Racing's character cast is alright at best. The characters picked aren't that bad, but it's the amount that hurt this game. The game has 5 main teams, with 3 from each, for a total of 15 characters in the game. When playing the story, the teams matter, as if you play a character, your team will consist of the other 2 members of that team. But when you're playing anything that isn't the story mode, your team can consist of any characters. Each character has 1 of 3 character types. Speed type, which has the highest top speed and well-balanced handling, but has lower acceleration and defense. Speed type characters have access to a radical burst ability, which will protect them from offensive items for a short period of time after gaining enough boosts. Technique type characters can attract nearby rings and allow for driving on rough terrain like off-road grass and not being slowed. They also have high acceleration and steering with nimble handling. Finally, there's the power type characters, which can drive right through obstacles without being slowed and destroy certain barriers on the track. They can also shunt other racers and don't spin when being damaged, alongside having a high boost and defense, but they have a lower top speed and lower handling. The game has some staple characters and some odd characters. Team Sonic has Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Team Dark has Shadow, Rouge, and Omega. Team Rose has Amy, Big, and Chao. Well, almost Chao, depending how you look at it. I like the concept of the Chao character, just being a bunch of Chao in a single cart, but it seems odd to just replace Cream for the Chao. And then again, Vector replaced Big in Sonic Freeriders, so this is nothing new, so why not? Next you have Team Chaotix with Vector, Espio, and Charmy. Wait, no. You have Team Vector with Vector, Silver, and Blaze. Finally, you have Team Eggman with Eggman, Metal Sonic, and Zavik. Personally, I don't like Zavik as a character. I don't think he's a terrible character. I've just never been the biggest fan of him. But he does have people that find him to be a great addition, which I can easily see. Plus, having Zavik makes his team feel weird. As far as I'm aware, Zavik hates Eggman, so having them team doesn't make much sense to me. I guess the joke would be that they don't like each other, so they're forced to team, which there's some games and stories that make that work, but here it really doesn't. I feel like the main reason here was they just wanted a team that was dedicated to just villains, which makes sense. As of right now, in any given 12-player race, if every player is using a different character, there's only 3 characters that aren't in the race. Seeing the exact same characters in every race can get really repetitive. I feel adding at least 2 more teams could remove these issues. As much as I enjoy Vector being teamed with Silver and Blaze, I feel this was done more so to fit more iconic characters into a 15-character roster, rather than it feeling better with them teamed together. Finally, for the modes in this game, you got your standard Grand Prix, and even a free race to pick out some tracks you want to play. You also have a choice to play solo races without a team, but they're not as fun as the team racing, but it's still a nice mode to have. There's also a story mode in this game which offers some other unique challenges and standard races. The story itself isn't really the most interesting thing around. Chances are, if you can predict it happening, it's going to happen. But for a game that's intended to be a racing game first, the story doesn't have to be anything special. This game does offer online play, but the part that ruins it is not many people are playing. This isn't a new problem because the game's a little over a year old now. This was always a problem. I played the game on the PlayStation 4 when it came out, and I could never find a full match of human players. I believe the most I ever had was around 8 or 9, but I could be mistaken. Bots do fill in for absent human players, so it's never unfair, but going online to mostly play with bots and some human players defeats the purpose of playing online. At launch it's a little bit more playable because you could find an almost complete match, but now it's almost impossible to find anyone online. Overall, I think this is a solid racing game. Sure, there's some things that hold it back from being the best racing game, but what this game does well, it does very well. The maps are great. Sure, there's some theme setup with multiple tracks in that same theme, but they don't feel like they're just different map designs with the same assets. They all offer their own music, and they have some unique set pieces which make them all stand out. The soundtrack in Team Sonic Racing is outstanding. I believe there's only a single track on the top of my head that I really didn't enjoy, but everything else was amazing. There's also a pretty cool car customization, which offers a lot of different features to mess around with.
Is Team Sonic Racing worth picking up if you haven't yet? Well, if you're a fan of single-player racing games, or just a Mario Kart fan, looking for something different for a while, I'd suggest giving this game a try. Plus, I've seen it for as low as 50% off in the past, so for that price, this game's definitely worth it. But if you're a fan of online racing games and playing them for hours and hours, I'd just give this game a pass. At launch, the online player base was pretty low, but you could still make it work, but now, it's impossible to find anyone.